Yo, ladies and gentlemen, what is cooking, man? It is your boy right here, MMA Reloaded, and we are live and direct for another show, another segment. Yeah, and I can't say this is MMA Reloaded Real Talk because it isn't. This is another edition. This is episode 7 of MMA Reloaded on the mic. Now, if you guys have watched our previous on the mic segments, you would know that this segment is not really known for having guests on, right? It's just a segment where, you know, I can I can rant, I can update you on all the things going in MMA today. I can break all the fight nights down for you guys. That's what on the mic is. But leading up to April the 10th, yeah, folks, I am now dedicating uh MMA Reloaded on the mic to the British fighters, to the young fighters who will be putting it all on the line, blood, sweat, and tears on the line, behind closed doors, at Cage Steel 25, an event that Cage Steel boss Dominic Gibbs has really put everything into. He's put all the thought into it, along with his team. 20 plus fights, yeah, title fights, you got amateur fights, pro, you got, you know, a main event where it's really, uh, the veteran against the young up and come rising star. It's really an event where you have it all. You got veterans, you got young fighters, you got guys making their pro debuts, you got women making their pro debuts. Um, in young fighters, yeah, folks, coming up in MMA, not only in British MMA, but when you have a record and you see someone with like a 2-4 record or 2-6 or 3 wins or 22 losses, like my man Ben Schneider, yeah, who's a British MMA heavyweight, you kind of see that they fight because they love to fight, or they fight because it's a learning curve for them to get better as their careers go on. You know, people fight because of experience. You fight because you love it. You fight because MMA has gotten you sort of, you know, off a bad path. And that's cool. That's respectable. Yeah, I understand that. I completely understand that. So today, folks, our first we did episode 47 of MMA Reloaded Raw Talk, yeah, which is now we're counting down to 50 episodes. And I want to thank you guys, everyone, for your support, for your understanding, for your appreciation as we continue to grow. And it's all starting off with these. You guys want to be like, UFC stars like Gabriel Green, Jerome Vera, Johnny Munoz. You want to be like young fighters like Alan Martinez or Josiah Reyes. You guys want to be or Anthony Angelkawani. All you got to do is join the revolution, man. All you got to do is join that movement. All you got to do is join the next big thing in MMA social media, and that is MMA Reloaded. So, folks, today, MMA Reloaded on the mic, episode 7. Having said that, we're doing something different. It is something different. It is the first episode. It is the first episode where of on the mic with a guest. So I will have Elliott Hoye, folks, who is going to be one half of the main event at Cage Steel 25 alongside Scott Malone. Now, guys, you may remember Scott Malone from episode 47 of MMA Reloaded Raw Talk. And it was a real pleasure to talk with Scott Malone. It's a real pleasure to get into the mindset of, young British MMA, young MMA fighters, not only British MMA, but young MMA fighters. To see, what goes on, and so young in their career, how do they approach the sport? How do they come across? How do they carry themselves in mixed martial arts so young in their career, 9, 10 fights in their career? 7-2, Elliott Hoye. Yeah, folks, who will be joining me today at 2:30 p.m. GMT. So in about another half an hour, yeah, folks. But before Elliott joins us, I was going to say, you want to just, it's a pleasure to speak to these young guys because it gives me an opportunity to see what goes through their minds. How do they carry themselves in mixed martial arts? How do they approach a fight? What goes on rounds 1, 2, and 3 if you're an amateur? Especially in British MMA now, folks, as it grows and grows and grows, whether you're in Scotland, whether you're in Ireland, whether you're in England, Wales, British UK MMA is growing. It is growing big, folks. And when it comes to British or UK MMA, if you're in England, you're going to look up to Michael Bisping, Dan Hardy, Ross Pearson. If you're in Scotland, Paul Craig, Joanne Calderwood. If you're in Wales, definitely Jack Shaw, who's pioneering it right now for the Welsh, and also my boy at Bellator. Yeah, folks. You got to look at all the British MMA, all the British stars who now compete at Bellator. And showcase their Bellator skills. You are Jack Gallagher if you're in Ireland. All these guys. For Conor McGregor, who's obviously mainstream, mainstream, but now not so much nowadays, in my opinion. But folks, as it grows, and young guys continue to make their ascension into the sport, it gives me it interests me, intrigues me, and intrigues the fans. To hear how they got started, how they, perceive the sport, how they perceive different aspects of mixed martial arts. So folks, with the main event at Cage Steel 25, it's going to be an interesting fight. Scott Malone, folks, is 7-3 in his career. He's already been to the dance at Cage Warriors. He's had 6 fights at Cage Warriors. I don't think so. We got to just check this out, yeah. So yeah, so yeah, folks, 7-3 in his career, 7-4 in his career, right? Yeah, 11 fights. Yeah, folks. He's fought so many of the top guys. He fought for former Cage Steel bantamweight champion in Adam Bramhold. He fought for the Cage Warriors bantamweight championship against now UFC competitor Jack Shaw. He fought Jack Cartwright at Cage Warriors. He fought Adam Amara Singh. He's fought a lot of the best, up and coming rising stars in British MMA. He's been to the dance at Cage Warriors. He's fought for the championship. And then when you see Elliott Hoye, he's got a similar record of 7-2. Yeah, he had extensive amateur experience before moving to the pros. And now, folks, he is a 2-time regional flyweight champ. He went for his 3rd championship at Fusion, but he got outworked and he lost that fight. And now, folks, these 2 guys, Scott Malone versus Elliott Hoye, is going to be such an interesting fight at Cage Steel 25. And, we're going to get Elliott Hoye's thoughts on the fight. Of course, we got Scott Malone's thoughts on the fight. Yeah, folks. So you can go check that out, episode 47 of Real Talk. But this is On the Mic, folks, and I'll be, throughout the time up until April the 10th, I will try and get as many Cage Steel 25 competitors on the show, yeah, folks, so you can get to know them. You can get to know the rising stars, the up and comes, the new pros, the new age, straight up, the new age in British mixed martial arts, yeah, folks, including our next episode, yeah, folks, which is episode 8 of On the Mic with with the boss, the CEO of Cage Steel, and it is a fucking pleasure. It is going to be a real pleasure for me to um to talk with Dominic Gibbs. It is going to be a huge pleasure for me to talk with Dominic. I've been waiting to since I joined as an affiliate, and I want to thank him. You know, he's been retweeting, he's been liking, he views, he's so hands on, man. You know, I think that's so important as a promoter. So, folks, Wednesday, the 24th of March, at 2 p.m. if I'm not wrong, we will talk with Dominic Gibbs. Yeah, folks. So it is a damn pleasure for me to chat with Dom. You know, guy just growing to look up to. You know what I'm saying? But it takes it is it is a job, it is a duty, man, to run an MMA promotion. You know, to get everything in line before your show goes live. Um, and apart from Dana White, you have Scott Coker, Ray Sefo, you know, in British MMA, you know, Dominic Gibbs is, you know, I think one of the most respected guys out there, man, 100%. So, folks, this fight is going to be this fight's going to be real interesting. The event is going to be banging. You got amateur fights. You got one of the best amateur title fights I think ever put together. In British MMA is the fight between Ibrahim Ibragimov, yeah, folks, who fights out of Manchester. He's only 17. Guy's an animal. He's at 9-0, yeah, and he faces the champ Stafford Swainson. So, folks, you gotta watch that, man. That you gotta watch the event. Go on to MMA Reloaded.co.uk/events to purchase your ticket, man. It's behind closed doors, so it's going to be streamed live for you guys to view it. If you do decide to buy tickets for £10, it's a bargain, man, pure bargain. So yeah, it's a real pleasure for me to sit with Elliott Hoye. Yeah, folks, he's only 24 years old, man. He's done so much already in his career. He's been fighting since he was 17. So it's gonna be interesting to see what he thinks and how his thought process is going into this fight. But folks, we're coming off. You know, if I may like digress for a minute, we're coming off UFC Fight Night, UFC Vegas 23. Yeah, folks, if I'm not wrong, 23, I think it is. Where Derek Brunson dominated his way to a victory against Kevin Holland. Now, folks, if I'm being honest, whether you're it doesn't matter how many fights you got, yeah, 20, 30, 40, even one fight in your career. Talking in the cage it's not something that's real permitted. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't talk in the cage if it's gonna distract me. If I know I'm up in the fight and I'm going into the last round, yeah, I might throw out a few barbs, you know what I'm saying? But in the end, bro, once the cage door shuts, in my opinion, the talking stops. Yeah, and for Kevin Holland, who's new to the top 10 ranks at middleweight, bro, your first mission should be to prove that you belong in the top 10. What the hell else are you doing in the UFC for, man? All right. If you wanted to talk and clown around and shit, yeah, bro, the best ever, the greatest of all time, Anderson Silva, got away with clowning around. You know why? Because he proved it every time. In 12 championship defenses, he proved it. Yeah. Again and again and again and again and again. And so he earned the right to talk, man. Yeah. For Kevin Holland, he proved it last year. He proved it last year when he won 5 fights in a row. Where's that Kevin Holland, man? Where's that Kevin Holland? He was too focused on running his ass and running his mouth. He didn't appreciate or respect the opponent that Derek Brunson was. Derek Brunson is. Derek Brunson has been in top 10, top 15 for God knows how many years, man. And you want to go out there and disrespect one of the best pure natural athletes in mixed martial arts, in Derek Brunson, like that, by talking shit, smiling, laughing. It's all good, man. I love guys who have fun in the cage. I love fighters who have fun. Not just guys, but the women. Yeah, Angela Hill has fun. She had fun against Ashley Yoder, but she had fun with her actions, not her mouth. She wasn't talking to Ashley Yoder. She had fun striking, man. She put on a clinic. Khabib has fun all the time when he mauls fuckers. Bro, you gotta respect who you're in the cage with, yeah. And you gotta respect your opponent. You gotta respect the game, man. Talking in a cage while you're fighting a number 7 ranked middleweight, yeah, is not that is never permitted. Young fighters here, folks, don't ever do that, ever. Yeah, you want to talk? You talk at media days. You talk at fight week. Talk on social media, man. Shit, if he was going to talk, yeah, bring your phone in the cage. Bring your phone in the cage. So while you're on your ass, get Twitter up. What the hell's the point? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is mixed martial arts, right? And Kevin Holland said that I never said I wanted. He said, and I quote, "I never said I wanted to be champ." Bullshit, boy. He was calling out Israel Adesanya after the Jacare win. Yeah, he was calling out Izzy. You remember they had that little confrontation on Fight Island? Yeah, he was calling him out in Vegas when Israel was in attendance. One of them shows, they went face to face, and he wants Israel Adesanya. So what do you think comes with an Israel Adesanya fight? A championship shot. Yeah, but Kevin Holland needs to grow the fuck up. If he not growing the fuck up, yeah, bro, get the hell out of the damn promotion. Get out, man. Honestly, I don't. You gotta grow up. You gotta mean business when it's time to mean business. Kevin Holland's one of the most spectacular athletes I've ever met. I've ever seen. Yeah, he's one of the most spectacular fighters I've ever had the pleasure of seeing in MMA. So if you're gonna bring that charisma, but bring it with your actions, man. That's all I'm saying. I'm a Kevin Holland fan, bro. I loved it when I saw Kevin Holland announced for that fight. But bring your actions, bro. Bring your actions. Charisma can be shown with actions, bro. Energy can be shown with actions, man. All you gotta do is just grow up and then see where that takes you. You know what I'm saying? You can't clown around against one of the best in the world in Derek Brunson. It's simple as, man. So, folks, we are gonna do the particulars right now, but we are gonna invite Elliott Hoye over to the show. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, man. Okay. Folks, welcome back to MMA Reloaded on the mic. So when we talk about that fight now, we talk about Kevin Holland. Yeah, folks, I want to talk about and appreciate, respect the performances that we saw um, last night. So Max Griffin, folks, first performance. What a performance, worthy of a co-main event. First up, yeah, he caught Song Yadong beautifully. He caught Song Kinan beautifully. Yeah, folks, beautifully with a combination. He backed Song Kinan up, yeah, and he whacked him with that left hand. The Max Griffin has always been one of my favorites here, folks. If you want to fight and you want to know you've been in a fight, Max Griffin's one of the perfect guys to give you a fight, straight up. And then the Montserrat, Conejo fight versus Cheyenne Bays. What happened in that fight, yeah, folks, was it was crazy. It was nuts because you got Montserrat Conejo, yeah, who basically all she did was hook up Cheyenne Bays for a headlock, yeah. She stayed in the headlock for like 3 minutes each round, and that pulled it out for her, yeah. Then she spat on Cheyenne because whenever Cheyenne would reverse her, yeah, she would do business. In my opinion, bro, if you're giving her a fight to damage, yeah, not control time, Cheyenne Bays would have won that fight easy. She landed a combination, sweet. She's got sweet hands. She landed fast combinations, yeah. To start the fight, every time she would go on the feet, she would be tagging Conejo up. And like she was a bad habit, man. So now, all respect to Cheyenne Bays. She, of course, you get heated up every time, but in MMA, you don't expect somebody to spit on you. You know what I'm saying? And then you can't really talk about the event without talking about Adrian Yanez. Man, man, I love Adrian Yanez. I love Adrian Yanez. Yeah. This guy, if I've ever seen a special talent ever, yeah, Adrian Yanez is the one. Adrian Yanez is the, oh my god. If you want a technical talent who can do it all, yeah, Adrian Yanez is perhaps as good as it gets right now. His striking is as good as it gets right now. His his mindset, his swagger, that little, what he does, to start the fight, he fights like this. He starts and then he goes technically then he goes in. He comes in so loose, so calm. He moves around like he's just having fun in there, man. He's bouncing around. His movement is second to none. His striking, his combinations are second to none. And that young man right there is gonna be a bantamweight champion, 100%. Ain't no doubt about that, man. Um, you wanna argue with me on that? There's no argument. There's no argument. Along with Ricky Simone, who's going to be a champion as well, 145. Yeah, this young man right here, Adrian Yanez, is going to be a champion right here, man. There is just a skill difference between him and everyone he's faced that makes him as special as he is. You know what I mean? So respect to Adrian Yanez. Respect to Grant Dawson as well, man. Grant Dawson came in like an animal. Yeah, he came in, yeah, folks, and you can see it was kind of a stalemate coming into that third round. It was a real stalemate, and I think Leo Santos was kind of pulling away with it in the middle of that second round and coming into the third. I would have given it to Leo, but Grant Dawson, folks, when it really mattered at fucking 4 minutes 59 seconds, 4 minutes 56 seconds of the third round, come right to the end. He posts up, yeah, when Leo's trying to grab his leg, he posts up, bam, bam, bam. He knocks him out with 4 hammer fists to the face. And then, folks, I gotta give it up to Montel Jackson. What a fight, man! What a performance that was from Montel Jackson, Quick Jackson, boy. You know that was a real fight right there, man. Montel Jackson's hands are so educated, bro. That young man could do raw damage against high level competitors. You know, he's been there with some of the most legit guys in the sport. And then when he goes in there, he never disappoints. He will take. He is so well rounded. He's good on the ground, good wrestling, great submissions. But his hands are so good, man. The way he timed that combination to end it, it was crazy. It was nuts. So, folks, now we turn our attention to UFC 260, which is going to be an even crazier event. You know, it's going to be nuts. You know what I'm saying? And you got Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic. Now, if you see Instagram, folks, they kind of just did a little breakdown, a little preview. You know what I'm saying, of that main event. Now, with that main event, yeah, folks, it's been 3 years since they fought. Yeah, you got Francis Ngannou on a 4-fight win streak. You got Stipe Miocic coming off that trilogy with Daniel Cormier. Yeah, folks, but he also got knocked out in the process against DC. You know what I mean? He got knocked out in the process. Daniel Cormier beat Stipe Miocic first, then Stipe beat DC 2 times over. You know what I mean? The the thing with Stipe is he, you know, he hasn't really faced the diversity of competition that Francis Ngannou's faced. You know, after that underwhelming fight against Derek Lewis, Francis has been putting on shows. He's been putting on performances, fam. This is no joke. Yeah, and I think if Francis Ngannou keeps his chin down this time, not up like he did against Jairzinho when he just swung and ended it in 20 seconds. If he keeps his chin down, he uses his hands properly. We know Francis has technical striking. He can strike technically. But if he uses it properly over 5 rounds, be prepared to go five. I think we'll see a different Francis Ngannou. I think we will. He also has a standing Kimura finish, yeah, folks, in his career. If we see the unpredictability of Francis Ngannou that we're used to seeing, don't rely on his power so much. Sort of, you know, um, round out his skill and be ready for takedowns. Be ready for Stipe to wrestle again. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't be prepared for none of this shit. You know what I'm saying? This is what happened in the first fight, yeah, folks. I'll tell you what happened. Yeah, is Francis was too focused on. He was so focused on knocking Stipe out in the first 2 rounds. He actually hurt him. He hurt him in the first round. But as the fight went on, Stipe used his IQ, he used his maturity, used his experience, and he took Francis Ngannou down. Yeah, folks. He took him down and he shut him out for 5 rounds. That's it. Um, so that was just Elliott Hoye, folks. Elliott Hoye is coming on the show right now. So yeah, folks, we're gonna be sitting down with Elliott Hoye. But just finish what I was saying, folks, about Stipe and Francis. It it has to be a new Francis Ngannou, 100%. I don't want to see none of that shit that we saw last time. You know what I mean? So, folks, that is Elliott Hoye. I am ready to throw down with him, man.
Yeah.
You're right, Elliott.
How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. How you doing? You good?
Yeah. Well, thank you. So let me just get my video sorted.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Technology's off its nut, bro. Um, now how's it going, man? Shit, how's it going for you, man?
Yeah, good, mate. Just training. We've got 19 days now, just under 3 weeks. So
Yo,
everything's nice and dialed in now. Kind of
how's
two more.
the how's training camp going, bro? How was the weight cut for you, bro? And of course, with the pandemic, was it a pain in the ass to train?
I'm fortunate where I've been able to train pretty consistently. Like as an elite athlete, there's been a small group of us that have been allowed to train.
Hmm.
So and my housemate does MMA as well. So like when we were actual lockdown, we could get little bits in. But yeah, I've trained the whole way through. So the level that I'm at now compared to where I was 14 months ago is much higher.
Bro, you've been training for a hot minute, a real hot minute, man. It's not even now. Like you're 24 years old. Yeah, your amateur career, if I'm not wrong, started when you were 17. Yeah.
Yeah. I had my first Muay Thai fight when I was 16,
Oh
and
damn.
then went into MMA from there. But a lot of the fights I had were kind of like pre Gym 01, and then when I joined Gym 01 was kind of when I was a little bit turned things up a little bit. That's when like the training was good before, but it wasn't necessarily as specific as it needed to be. And
Uh,
then going to Gym 01 with Brian and making the move down to Portsmouth, that was when like things got serious. So I've got like 9 years of training, but probably like 4 or 5 of solid
4 or 5
training.
good years. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not that it was bad before, that it just wasn't guided so well. So
Okay.
like I was just doing random stuff, like whereas Brian's got a system that we work under,
Mhm.
and ever since the day that I've joined, we've been working towards where we're heading now.
I mean, this young in your career, bro, yeah, and already a two-time regional champion, yeah, man, and you actually went for a third fusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Mm.
How was that? How was that fight for you, man? And you know what? Of course, it didn't go, the way you wanted it to. But
Mm.
to go for a third championship, how was your mentality coming into that fight?
It was a good fight. I was meant to be fighting Shaj Hack because I'd
Okay.
just beaten his brother, and then Shaj got offered the fight with Jake Hadley, so he pulled out and took that one, and then I got offered the Italian Giacomo on 2 weeks' notice, and I think I was probably a little bit too arrogant for that fight. I probably overlooked him. There wasn't a lot of footage. He was only 2-0. So in my head, I was like, I'm just going to steamroll this guy. And then we went out there, and it was a good fight. And I was probably winning on the scorecards. Maybe it was 1-1. And then, but I was just trying to force it. I thought I needed to do more than I was doing. So I went for kind of like a takedown that I wouldn't necessarily go for, and it put me in a bad position. And you fight good guys, you get choked out. Like
Yeah.
you give
Yeah.
them good opportunities, they're going to take them. So it was a good learning curve. Like obviously losing sucks, and I hate losing, but it was necessary because I don't think I respected my opponent as much as I should have leading up to it. So it was necessary because I'm still young. I mean, at the time I was 23, so it was just it brought me to where I am today. So I'm happy with the loss. I'm not happy for losing, but I'm happy with where I am now.
No, definitely, man, and I respect all that maturity that you're bringing in, man, at such a young age. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because every fight that you have, or anyone has, really, man, whether you're at pro, high level, or amateur, yeah, you have to take it as a learning curve, right? It's not just a win, steamroll, get paid, and done deal. It is a learning curve every fight. Um,
100%. Everyone wants to win. Everyone has the dream that they're gonna go out there with their hand raised, and you got to recognize that. Like sometimes you got to beat it out of them.
yep, yep. And then when we talk about beginnings, but how for fans who don't know who Elliott Hoye is, yeah, how did it all start for you in MMA, man?
So originally I went to a school that was quite like rugby dominant, and I was terrible at rugby, mate. I'm what am I, 5'8", 5'9",
Oh shit.
not very big guy, flyweight, and I wanted to be the alpha. So I was like, oh well, I can't play rugby. Like I was in the team. One of the teams I was in, we lost 100-0 once, and they stopped the game early. we were so bad, but they made you play it at my school. It was just what they did. Like you had to do it. I guess it was character building.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, well, I'm still a tough guy. So my dad's friend owned an MMA gym. So I went down there. And I think at the time, I probably just thought it was cool. Like I probably thought I was going to get girls and things like that. And then I just loved it. I went down there and I was like, man, I'm terrible at this. I'm so bad, but I want to not be so bad. So I just kept showing up. And as soon as I joined, like, I went every single day after school. I'd go from 6 till 9. And then that was all I did. Granted, I probably overtrained, and a lot of those hours were probably wasted because I was just so tired. But I wanted to do it, and I thought that was the way to get good. So I just kept showing up, and then I started fighting, started competing. Recognized that at a certain point it was time to make the move down to Gym 01 and look to reach that next level. And yeah, that's kind of where it started.
Like what we were saying earlier, but what you were saying earlier about moving to Gym 01, made you get a lot more serious, a lot more guided going into your career. How important is that, bro? Because having a high level, having a gym where that actually gets your mind to where it needs to be going into competition. How important is that for a fight, and how important was it for you?
I think the biggest thing I've taken away from training under Brian and moving down here is just structure. Like if you go up to him and asked him when I joined what his plan was, not just for me but for everyone, he would have told you exactly where we're at today. Granted, where we're at now is probably further ahead than he expected. Okay. But he has a plan. Like some gyms you'll show up to and potentially you'll go and they'll be like, oh, today we're doing arm bars, and it's like, well, why are we doing that? Like there has to be a structure to your system. The way that we train is very similar to the way that the Danaher guys train, in that they actually have a structured system that they all follow. You can't just be a professional fighter and show up at Gym 01 and do the advanced class. You've got to tick off your drills so that when you show up to the class, I know that my training partner is going to be able to at least drill with me. So even if it's someone who's just joined the class, they're going to know everything that we're doing. We're going to be able to get some quality training in, instead of showing up and you've got varied abilities. Oh, this guy doesn't know this drill. It slows it down and you don't have a good pace to your class, and which means ultimately the way to get good at MMA is to do it over and over and over again. And if you're having to reteach things all the time, you just lose that. So we show up, everyone knows what they're doing, and then what happens is you can just add little things in here and there because everyone understands the bare bones of the system.
Yeah. No, yeah, 100%, man.
Just efficient training, very efficient training.
Do you think though that's the key, is not only is commitment, bro, and actually starting at the bottom of the ladder, and working your way up, that's what's important, right? You don't want a guy to come in and not know what he's doing, and it kind of throws everyone else off. You know what I'm saying? It kind of how important is that, bro, to actually start from the bottom of the ladder and use that commitment, use that drive to sort of work your way up to, at the level to say where you are.
Yeah, I think also having a system in place like we do, it weeds out the knobs and the people that come and they're like a bit of a geezer and they want to have a bit of a punch up, because the first thing you've got to do is the beginner's grappling drills, which can be a little bit tedious, but it's designed like that because if you're not willing to do that, then you don't want to fight. You just want people to think you're a fighter. Mm-hmm. So we have these drills that probably to get into the advanced class, if you're serious, will take you like 6 weeks to 3 months. If you're not, it takes you a bit longer. But you see all the guys show up and they're like, oh, I just want to have a fight, mate. Like I'm a street fighter, and they get weeded out because they don't want to drill an armbar 1,000 times. But if you want to be a good fighter, you got to do those things. So it's a good way of just making sure that the people that do stick it out and get to the advanced class are solid and they want to be there.
Do you get guys like that just that don't even do the basic classes and come straight into the advanced and think they're all that?
Well, they're not allowed to train, but we get people show up and they're like, oh, I'm advanced, I've fought before, and we're like, well, you don't know the drills. Go, if you fought before and you're a good fighter, go and tick off the drills. Because if you're a good fighter and you come to the gym, it will take you like an hour. I could teach you them in an hour. But if you're not and you don't know what you're doing, then you'll be found out, and then you can't do that class. You got to go to the beginners, and it's humbling for those guys. Either they knuckle up and they learn the drills and they want to be involved, or they don't, and then in which case we would have lost that guy down the line anyway.
Yeah, man. No, that's straight up, man. And that all comes down to commitment, right? It comes down to motivation. It just comes down to willing to learn the craft, and if you're actually serious about taking it up, you know, that's what it's all about. It's all about commitment and willing to put in the effort. Bro, when we talk about commitment and we talk about putting in effort, yeah, we talk about your amateur career, man. I want to actually touch on that, bro, because I touch on that with a lot of guys and I get different opinions, right? For you, bro, it was, yeah. How did you approach the amateur ranks, man? Did you use it as an experience builder, as something to get you ready for where you are now, or you know, was it something to just say, you know, I want to be undefeated amateur, I want to win championships, you know, here and here and here, and you know, come to the pros and do the same?
Originally I thought I was a lot better than I was. So I went 6-3 as an amateur early on, and I kind of just like had some quick wins, had some good wins, lost a couple, and then I lost six amateur fights in a row. And that was like as I made the transition to Gym 01, and that was actually I lost 6 in a row, and I also lost the Muay Thai fight thrown in there, so 7 in a row, and that was before my pro debut. So I didn't actually win a fight before my pro debut in 3 years. So I guess I didn't really win championships, but it was a lot of learning, you know, and it was it makes you realize if you want to be if you like fighting or if you just like winning, because I had lost a lot. And that was when I made the transition to Gym 01. That was when I realized that I wasn't at the level that I thought I was. Like I'd won some fights and I thought I had a 6-3 amateur record. I was like, oh, I'm pretty good. And then I realized I just had a lot of holes. Like I was scrappy. I wanted to fight, but ultimately I didn't have a roadmap of how to win these fights. I was just like, I'm just going to go in there and throw down and we'll see what's up.
No,
so I guess it was a good experience because it's humbling, you know. Trying to sell tickets when you've lost 5 fights in a row and then you lose another is not easy. But I'm grateful. And then as soon as I went pro, we knew, like, even though I'd had all those losses, we knew the level I was operating at in the gym, and we knew it was time to start looking towards the pro ranks.
So when you went pro, coming off those 6 losses, yeah, man, where was your mentality coming into as a pro? Did you want to sort of use the beginning of your pro career to sort of resurrect those losses that you had at amateur?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you my mindset at the time. I knew I was good enough to compete at pro, but part of me was like, oh man, you've lost 7 fights in a row. Like, you're always going to ask yourself the question of like, maybe this isn't for me. But I knew as soon as I got in there I had that first feeling of the 4-ounce gloves in the fight, because the guy that I fought on my pro debut, Mark Wade, was actually the guy who I lost to, who started off the amateur losing streak.
Oh, no way!
So I lost to him for the Shokanor belt, and I got choked out in I got guillotined in about 40 seconds. So I had some demons going in there because I was like, oh man, this guy beat me before. And then I went in there and you could just see, like, if you go back and watch, if you search Elliott Hoye versus Mark Wade and you watch the first one and then you watch the second one, you can see the jump in level. So even though I'd lost so many in a row, I was just comfortable where my skill set was at. I knew the sparring that I was putting in, and I know that doesn't necessarily translate, but to me it did, and I felt ready to make that step. And then I finished him in the second round, and it was a fairly dominant display considering the first one I got smoked. No, yeah. So it should show that we were on the right path, you know.
And then when you came into professional ranks, bro, off the amateur career, did you feel yourself putting in a higher level of training than you did when you were amateur? And you know, considering your move now to Gym 01, did you see yourself, you know, getting better as your professional career, you know, goes on?
Yeah, so I think ever since I've started, I've always put in like 100% effort. But initially, there was just holes, like the training I had before. Unfortunately, that we didn't have that many guys in our gym, and there just wasn't as much structure. Like, Brian's a full-time coach; he's able to put much more time in. So there was a lot of gaps that I had that were just filled, and they started to fill, and we're still filling those holes now. We're still like working to be towards being the most well-rounded fighter we can, but initially I had some big holes, so it was nice to kind of start the pro career with the guy that I'd lost to on that streak, because it showed the progression, you know.
Definitely. No, yeah, 100%. I can imagine the relief you had, like getting that loss off your back, because practically that's what started it all for you, right? And look where you went after that, man. Shit, 7-2. The funny thing is when I saw your record, right, bro, and I saw like how you won fights. Yeah, I'll see rear naked choke, rear naked choke, rear naked choke. Yeah. Is the RNC something that you practice regularly when you go into a fight, bro, in training, or if you're in a fight, does it just come to you? Like, do you just take the opportunity?
I think most of the time those positions end up because of just like dominance in the other grappling areas. So through ground and pound, I'll often end up on the back, and it's often a submission that potentially guys will not give to you because no one wants to lose, but it's it's an easy way out when you're getting beaten up. I mean, the system, like all roads when you're grappling, should lead to the back of the mount. Like if your goal isn't to get to the back, it's the safest place in MMA. You can't get punched, you can't get submitted, and you're winning. So we are always looking to get to the back and finish from there. But it's just part of the game. Like I'm sure I'm gonna have many more rear naked chokes and many other finishes from different positions. It's just the way that it's panned out early on. Like we haven't got a big enough sample size yet. Maybe once I'm at like 30 pro fights, then we can look and say that's my speciality. But right now we're just getting started still.
But to me, man, that's impressive, man, because we see like guys win by guillotine all the time, or we see guys win by arm bars, or you have a head kick, you have a specialty, right? And then in jiu-jitsu, Elliot, is I think from what I see and what I know, it's great to be diverse in every position, right? Whether you're half guard, whether you're full guard, and even some guys just hump you for 3-4 rounds and take out a decision, right? And when you see that, bro, and when you see guys who actually do that and aren't active with their transitions or with their submission attempts, and just hang on to you for the fight. When you see that, but how does that make you feel? Like, do you get a bit frustrated when you see fights like that, or is it like, okay, cool, that guy's got serious dominance, top position?
Well, I mean, I can't really speak for other individuals, but for me, the way that I look at it and the way that we look at it is, if you have a dominant position, we're going to look to strike from there. We're going to look to get off ground and pound. We have a very good system of ground and pound at our gym, especially where I'm not like a BJJ black belt traditionally. Yeah. There's a lot of those guys where, especially when you get to the UFC and you get to the big shows, you fight a black belt and everyone goes, that guy's won the IBJJF, this and that, and you're like, it's different when you're getting ground and pounded. So for me, the ground and pound opens up the opportunities to grapple for MMA, because if I have an out-and-out grappling match with one of these jiu-jitsu black belts, I'm probably going to lose. They've been doing it for their entire life, but we have a very good system in place of ground and pound, and I think that's what sets up most of my rear naked chokes, is that we have such good GMP at our gym that we're able to get ourselves to these dominant spots, because when you're getting good ground and pound off, guys will often give up the back as a way to not get TKO'd or look for a way out.
So necessarily it's good to stay active on the mat, right? You don't want to just hang there, right? You want to stop the fight, because you never know how it's really being scored nowadays, right? So yeah, you want to stay active. You want to post up and take that opportunity to finish it. So when we talk about your pro career, man, at 7-2, and you're only 24 years old right now, right? You've been at Almighty Fighting Championships. You've been at SNA. When you go and travel and fight at these different promotions, Elliot, is it a different experience every time, or is it practically the same off the bat all the way through?
I mean, it's always a fight. But yeah, I guess you have different experiences, like different venues, different ways things are set up. But
Yeah.
I fought on enough shows where I know that like eventually all the stuff's going to be the same once you get into the cage and have a fight. But yeah, they're all pretty like the shows that I've fought on. I've been very fortunate that they've all been really well run. I
Nice.
haven't fought on too many where I've been like, oh, it was a bit of a shit show. So yeah, they all seem the same to me. Like I can't like register any differences.
No, for sure, man. And then, of course, man, in 19 days, yeah, you're going into perhaps, I would say a huge spotlight for you, man. It's a stacked card for over 20 fights, and your main eventing, man. How did that feel to you when you first heard, shit, Elliott Hoye, you are main eventing fucking Cage Steel 25?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I didn't know we were going to be the main event. I mean, looking at the card, it kind of makes sense because we at the moment we're both the most
Yeah,
experienced guys on there, like in terms of UK UK experience. Yeah, I mean, I'm pleased. Like main event at this point, it is good. It's a great thing. Like obviously, I don't really like. If it was up to me, I'd be the first fight on every night so I can just get in and get out. But I don't mind. I quite like waiting around. I quite like letting my opponent stew in the nerves. So
no,
yeah,
yeah.
it's going to be good. There's a lot of good fighters on the card. There's a lot of like up and coming pros that are very very good. So it's good to get that spotlight.
Yeah, man. No, definitely, man. Of course, you got a great few amateur championship fights coming on there too. So yeah, but when you see that main event, Cage Steel 25, man, how have you been training for Scott Malone, bro? Because obviously, his grappling isn't exactly a slouch either. And with your submission price, have you done anything different to train for Scott Malone?
Yeah. We've got a very solid game plan for Scott. He's a great fighter. Very good in the clinch. Very good heavy top game.
Yeah.
You can't mess around with him. Commonwealth Games gold medalist in judo. Like that's not easy to get. One of my main training partners, Brett Caswell, is also Commonwealth Games judo gold medalist, and I know the level that it takes to get there. So yeah, obviously a fight like this is slightly different because there's certain positions where you can't mess around because if you do, like if I think I'm just gonna go in there and have a clinch battle with him, I'm wrong because he's been doing judo since he was 3 years old.
Exactly.
There's certain positions where if I give him the opportunity, he's gonna throw me on my head. He's gonna look to steal rounds. He's gonna look to get top position. He's gonna be super heavy there. He's gonna wanna get my back. He's gonna wanna score the points, and he throws hard. Like if
He
you
does.
walk into his left kick, his left hand, he throws hard, and because he's so comfortable in the clinch, he's okay with falling into his shots because he knows that if he gets a clinch, that's what he wants. But we have a very very good game plan for Scott, and I'm excited to implement it.
No, man, I'm glad. I'm glad, man. And then for those, I don't mean to stir shit up, but for those who say that your his experience may pull over or whatever it is, his experience advantage over you may pull over in the fight. What do you say to that? And of course, it doesn't really mean shit once the cage doors closed, right? How does that sort of, does that even affect you at all?
I mean, not really. If I was going to look at the fight objectively and I wasn't fighting on paper, I'd be like, oh, well, Scott's got this Cage Warriors world title experience. He's fought for that twice. He's a judo Commonwealth Games gold medalist. Like, I don't blame them. Like, it would be weird if they thought I was going to win because if you look on paper,
It
he
doesn't.
is on paper the better fighter. But you have to have these. But like, I'm here to fight tough guys. I want cage time with these people that are good fighters because that's when you find out if you are a good fighter. I know how good I think I am, but
Yeah.
ultimately until I beat these guys, it doesn't mean anything. So I want to have these fights where people think I'm going to lose because it's way better. Like there's nothing worse than fighting. I've had fights before where I've had like late notice pullouts and I've had to fight someone who wasn't very good and it feels hollow. It's not a real win. Like you can only fight who's in front of you, but I know that once I beat Scott, I will feel like it's a well earned win because he's a true competitor. He's a good fighter, and if I switch off, he is more than capable of beating me.
No, yeah, definitely. No, 100%, man. You know what, bro? sort of gratifies me that I get to talk to guys like you, you know, because I get a mature outlook, you know, beyond your years, man. Fucking hell, it's a real pleasure to get a point of view like yours, man. And
Thank
I
you
wish you
much.
all the best of luck. April 10th, man. For sure, it's a main event, huge ass spot, and I hope it all goes well for you, brother.
Yeah, hopefully so. I mean, all the wheels are in place. The wheels are in motion. I'm ready to go. I just want to do it now. You know, I just want the opportunity to prove myself.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%, bro. And I wish you all the best of luck, Elliott Hoye, man. Thank you so much, man, for coming in.
Sweet as man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate the support a lot.
No, no problem, brother. No problem, man. All the mentions and the stories or the celebrity status, bro, is coming. It's coming very soon, man.
Yeah, sweet as. Thank you very much.